Welcome back to the Polish Hustle. I am really excited. First of all, I miss y'all, but I am super excited because today we are going to talk about the industry that has genuinely changed my life, shaped my life, and has brought me to the place and space where I am today, which is the cosmetology industry. First of all, huge shout out to all my cosmetologists, whether you're a hairstylist, a makeup artist, a barber, a esthetician, lash artist, nail artist, and anything in between. If I'm missing you, then honey, you know exactly who you are. But you guys are so incredibly important because you don't know the weight that you hold and the impact and the significance of what it is, how we do it, and most importantly, the why behind we do it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the cosmetology journey, how I've had plenty of experiences inside of mine, as I'm sure that most of you guys have had a lot of stories inside of yours. So for me, getting started in the industry was a very interesting story, to say the least. Taking it back, I was raised in the beauty shop. I'm a beauty shop baby. Every 2 weeks, Saturday morning, bright and early, my grandmama is dropping me off at the cosmetology school to get my wash and curl. And I got the opportunity to see people not necessarily already in the full spectrum of the beauty shop experience, but really starting to get their ground. So I had a really early introduction to the cosmetology school program. And I just fell in love with it. I just fell in love with the community that came along with being in a salon environment, the opportunity to connect and grow with a lot of different individuals, and even in my youth, understanding the sense of responsibility in terms of really making someone feel their best. And as I grew up, I then got the experience and allowance to participate with my family and friends who had beauty shops. Like, they actually had beauty shops. So I would be the shampoo girl, or I would sweep up the shop for, a little piece of change, or I would be doing braid downs. And so that energy allowed me to segue into becoming a kitchen stylist. I was definitely handing out the quick weaves and, the sew-ins and the braids and all the little things just to, basically be able to support putting gas in my car, or, I want to go out and do something. So I've been in this industry literally since my youth. So it's always allowed me to see the differences in what people understand, and also the different channels of the beauty industry. And so from that point, I was like, this is just, again, something that's a part of my life. But I knew when I graduated high school that I was going to go to school to essentially become a nurse. So my mama was a nurse. My best friend, two of my best friends are nurses. All of my aunties on my mama's side are nurses. Like, I am surrounded with the health industry. Like, that's just always something that's been embedded, to understand like that would be the next line of progression for me. And I remember being in school and, gathering my prerequisites and basically getting to a point where the conversation about, hey, what's going to be next steps in terms of preparing for nursing school really started to come about. And I just couldn't do it. Like, I didn't want to do it. And y'all, I can remember when I told my mama, I was like, yeah, no, this isn't just something I want to do. Honey, you could have bought her for a quarter and had change, because she was none too happy. Baby, it was a very, it was a rough conversation. And what I know now is that a lot of us who choose to go into the cosmetology industry actually have this experience, where when we decide that this is something that we want to pursue by going to school and gaining all of the licensure behind doing it, you're not really welcomed in that space by close family and friends. Almost like you're demonized for it. It's a place of like, hey, you're not going to make any money. You're just basically doing something to pacify time. You're going to need some help, and I'm not going to be there to catch you when you fall, and you need to go to school to learn this, that, and the fourth. But a lot of the times when the conversations of a trade is elected instead of going the college experience, it's not a it's not always the most polished conversation. So you have to remember that during this time, this is like, 2008, 2009. And so my mama's immediate thought is that you have all of these, channels and vessels around you of success. Like, at no point in time are you looking at what's your long-term goal. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I was like, listen, by hook, nook, or crook, I'm gonna figure it out. But this is what I have decided to do. And this is just where I'm at. And I hope you meet me there at some point in time. But this is what I'm gonna do. And so I went to cosmetology school. And immediately upon getting on the floor, y'all, I hated it. Like, I hated doing hair. Like, what I realized is that when I was a kitchen stylist doing hair, I was doing it just to basically get $1. But when I was going to professionally learn my craft, I was like, I don't want this part of the beauty industry. Like, I don't know what part I want, but I don't want this part. So I was really heavily into makeup. So I stumbled around a little bit, kind of, put my hands in a couple of different things. And then lashing came into the forefront. And lashing was, at that time, very quiet. It wasn't even regulated by the regulatory agencies. In Texas, it's TDLR. So it wasn't even on TDLR's radar. And so I ended up going to a course. And I was like, you know what? This is really my last, this is my last gamble, because I really was on my last financial leg. So I took a course that was like right at like $2,000. And it was the last $2,000 I had in the bank. And I went to the course, and it was terrible. My education was trash. I went in, and isolating in lashing is really important, because what it means is that you're going to isolate a single natural hair in preparation for the extension. You have to do this repetitively. Every time you place a lash, you have to isolate, and you have to have clean isolation to avoid damage to the lash line. And I got started in a place where it was only classic lashing. It wasn't volume or anything like that we know of now. And so in that process, I was having trouble with isolating, because it's also the responsibility of your non-dominant hand. So I remember telling the instructor, hey, I am having a really big problem with learning and coping with this experience or this expectation. Can you help me? And her response was, just isolate. Okay, how? Because, honey, I don't know, right? And because I didn't know, I didn't really know what follow-up questions to ask to give strategic guidance to an answer. But her response was, again, just isolate. And she walked off eating a bag of hot Cheetos. I was like, okay. So what I now know in this moment is that, number one, I am alone. Number two, I've literally rolled the dice on my last bit of money in my account, and I don't really know where to go from here. So I connected with an artist that at the time was doing my lashes, who already told me at the beginning that she was not an instructor, and said, hey, listen, can I connect with you? Can you teach me? Can you show me? And she said, I'm not an instructor. This ain't what I do, but I will show you what I know. Like, I'll show you a few things. And what I learned from her in those 2 hours trumped what I got in an experience of an educator basically running the experience of, hey, I'm going to use you as a dollar bill. This person was patient. She was accountable to her actions in terms of letting me know, hey, this is what you do. This is how you hold it. This is how you sit. This is how you position your wrist. It was all of these small, intricate pieces that genuinely sculpted the entire landscape of what I know now as a lash artist. And so I remember telling myself that I want to get so cold at this. Like, I want to get so good at this that I would like to become an instructor, an educator, to allow someone else to have a better experience than I had. I don't ever want to feel like someone is being let go and they're really on their last leg. Within 6 months of learning how to lash, I quit my job. Within a year and a half of that, I opened my first salon. And then within a year of that, I opened my second salon. So it took off. It took off. It changed my life. It genuinely reconfigured the way that I understand a lot of the expectations in the industry as a whole, and it placed a new level of responsibility on me. Um, Within that particular snapshot, within 6 years, um, I ended up having to return to the workforce during essentially due to an unexpected life experience. And so that for me was kind of a reckoning because I didn't necessarily know what that meant. But the beauty of it is that I returned to the workforce as a national educator for the US's largest salon franchise base in the US. And so for me, it changed everything. I went from never traveling by myself, if I traveled at all, to traveling almost every other week. I got to meet new people who were in the same position I was once upon a time. I got to meet salon owners. I got to understand my do's, don'ts, wills, and won'ts a lot stronger, not only in the professional world, but in the personal world. Being in that space at that time not only changed me as my understanding in terms of what this industry means, but it also changed the understanding of what I mean to this industry. So, long-winded way of basically saying it worked out, and it's still working out. And one of the best pieces of that is about, I would say, 3 years ago, when I was calling my mama to let her know that I had landed in Denver, Colorado. She just took a moment to say, "Hey, I'm so proud that you actually stuck to what you say you wanted to do, and this is the place that you landed because I can tell your heart is filled with happiness." So it worked out. Okay, so obviously there was a lot of information inside of that, like how I got started, and so I know a lot of our stories are very extensive about how we actually landed to our ideal pocket. Now, some of us come into the industry hot, and it's like, hey, listen, I know exactly what chamber of the beauty industry I want to work in, I want to be in, I want longevity. And some of us just, again, you got to kind of fumble around a little bit and put your hands in a few pots to see exactly which one is the most nutritious to you. So in transitioning and being in a place and space now that I've explored, being a stylist, being a salon owner, and now as an executive in a brand, it's allowed me to have a very wide scope, a really big 360 on different compartments of the beauty industry, how it works, how it's locomotive to the next opportunity, and most importantly, what does it look like, or what is it beginning to look like, what the forecast for our industry looks like. And so I often sit down and wonder what it is specifically about this industry that keeps me here, because it realistically has been the only industry I've ever worked in. And what I land on is that this industry continues to give me reasons to stay here. In the experience that I have now, where I have so much engagement with so many different walks of life that come to this common ground through attraction, through organic experience, through just simply saying, hey, I just wanted to try something different. What I find is that a lot of us carry the same experience as to why we stay, is because it's so incredibly rewarding. There is nothing like your guests getting up and seeing themselves for the very first time with your work in mind. It is one of the most gratifying feelings to know that you have absolutely had the impact of changing someone for the better and something that they were looking for. I can't even begin to tell you the impact of the clients that have, man, that is such a deep, intrusive place that these guests, my clients, have lived in my heart for 15 years. I've seen women become different in their careers. Like they graduated school, they've been promoted at their jobs. I've seen them become mothers, I've seen them become wives, I've seen them had to choose themselves and say, hey, listen, this particular situation I'm in, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whatever it is, it no longer suits me. I have to grow through this and go on to do something different. I've seen a lot. I've seen people being in situations that have like, hey, I have to do something different and I don't know what to do, but getting these lashes is gonna make me feel better. And I'm like, hey, listen, let me give them to you. I have I've met some of the most impactful people by just them laying in a chair and allowing me to be in their orbit. Like, I don't take that lightly. I don't take it lightly that my guests allow me to be a part of their story. I don't take it lightly that my guests trust me. I I have been therapeutic to them beyond, doing services for them, but just simple conversations as they've been therapeutic for me. They've seen me grow. They've seen me change. They've seen me have good days and bad days, and I have with them. And so we've absolutely allowed one another the place of growth and the allowance, and most importantly, the the hope and knowing that no matter what the circumstance, we can always come back to this position of, if you need me, I'm here for you. And this industry does that for a lot of us. Whether you're getting a haircut and your barber just need somebody to trust to vent, as beautiful and decorated and tight as the beauty shop community is, it absolutely is the same way in the barbering world or in the nail world or in the skin world. It's each of us have our communities, but we're all magnetized by this one umbrella. So I know that the impact of trust is one that I just don't take for granted, and it's allowed me to have longevity. I'm blessed to genuinely say that I still have my very first guest that I ever did a full set on. Like, she still comes faithfully every 2 weeks, and man, I could not be prouder of her. Like, in all of my guests. So this is really important to understand, that whatever you do, what legacy are you leaving? This is so much bigger than you doing hair, you doing nails, you cutting hair, you doing lashes. What legacy do you leave? And so, in understanding that you are looking to understand what legacy you're leaving, it's also important for you to note, what has this industry taught you to leave a strong enough, lasting legacy? This industry has taught me so many things, not only about myself, but about others. Again, being in this industry, you are in a service industry, so you have to be aware of the things that you do, the things that you say, even the way that you are polished to be in that experience. I tell stylists all the time, because it's so important to note that people fall in love with you versus what you do. They love what you do, but they love who's doing it more. We all know somebody who's super cold at their talent, but they have a terrible attitude, or they're unreliable, or not necessarily trustworthy. And then you know somebody who's really starting, and they're putting their all into it, and they're putting their heart into it, and they are developing their business. It's important to know that no matter what you do, it's always going to come down to who you are, because that's what's going to create the most attraction for people to create valuable relationships, lasting relationships. It's taught me that I have to be honorable to the discipline of knowing that, listen, it takes some hard work. It's been a lot of gracious moments inside of it, but it's also been some things that's flipped me on my head, and it's like, hey, listen, you had to learn this lesson in order to get to the next blessing. It has created a window of or it has created a new capacity, rather, to understand that you're in a collaborative space. And when you're in a collaborative space, you're not the only one that does what you do. You cannot be intimidated by someone else doing the same thing that you're doing. Rather, be influenced, be inspired. There is more than enough room in this industry for us to all be here, and the respect of various artistry is so important. You don't have to step on another artist to create validation about what you do and how you do it. You don't have to dismiss someone else's understanding and interpretation of art because it doesn't align with yours. That's the beauty of it. You can't have all the clients, no way. So creating the best respect for this community is something that it creates that legacy, and most importantly, it teaches you a lot about yourself. Okay, so in walking through all of these things about what the industry means to me, I would tell somebody if they're like, hey, how do I know if the beauty industry is for me? How do I know if this is something I want to do? If it makes your heart beat a little faster and it's something that you really can't stop thinking about and it's something that you want to do but you're scared because of what somebody else say, baby, go for it. Go for it. But before you do that, let me tell you a few things. Number one, if you're getting in this industry because you think that this is just going to make you all the money in the world, baby, don't do it. Do not do it. Why? You have to understand that your passion feeds your purpose. So if you're doing it for the money, it doesn't matter what you decide to do for the money. If it's you doing hair, if it's you selling t-shirts, if it's you cooking food, whatever it is, if you're leading with the idea of money first, you're going to be disappointed when those days come. When the rain comes and you don't know how to handle it, you're immediately going to flip to something else. The beauty industry changes with trends. It changes with economics. It changes even with innovation. And so if the attraction is the money, because you're going to have some good days and you're going to have some bad days. And sometimes you literally are just working to make booth rent. Sometimes you are working just to be able to decide, do I got enough money for gas? Or, can I actually eat? Trust me, it's plenty of days that I done went to bed on popcorn and water, okay? So you have to understand that it absolutely can change the way that you feel if that's the goal. Number two, it takes time. Everybody has a day one. And if you come into this space thinking that you're going to get it out of the gate, you've already really cut your knees. You cut yourself down at the knees. You have to give yourself time and space to genuinely walk through the understanding that you're looking to create longevity. Nothing that you are looking to create longevity is going to speak to an instant flash. What comes easy, goes easy. This ain't no different. Number three, you have to understand that you are in a service industry. If you come in with an ego that is inflated to speaking what you want, when you want it, how you want it, and you tell people this and you go according to this particular banner of control, I assure you, you won't be here very long. People spend their very hard-earned money to be in a place of reception, but that does not stop at the service. You have to understand that the service is a part of the experience. The experience starts from the moment that they reach out to you to the longevity and opportunity that they can consistently communicate with you after the service. If you only think that you're going to do what you need to do by simply cutting hair or styling hair or doing lashes, you have a long way to go in understanding you have to build your experience around your service. And what your experience looks like is 100% on you. So with that being said, I wanted to say thank you to all of my fellow cosmetologists, whatever chamber you live in this industry. You don't know it sometimes, but those moments where you have to get up even when you don't have the strength to, when you have to figure it out, I got 12 clients in one day, how am I going to fit a lunch in here somewhere? When you genuinely are giving your all, and sometimes your guests don't necessarily see the beauty and all of the impact that you've deposited in this one service. I just simply want to let you know that what you do has so much volume, it has so much reach, it has so much impact, it has so much beauty that you rarely see it because you do it so much. But we stand on the generations of stylists, of the beauty industry that absolutely allows us to continue to move forward and continue to grow. So to my fellow cosmetologists, you guys are incredible. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep making this magic. And to those beauty enthusiasts that are considering it, I say, best of luck. Welcome to the industry. And again, take your time. So guys, with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this episode of the Polish Hustle. I will talk to you y'all in a little bit.